Jazz and Mozart and cinema, all this can be heard not only in one concert. All this was combined in one person, pianist Timur Polianskiy. The phrase "nature rests on children of geniuses" does not apply to father and son Polyansky at all. The outstanding pianist Vyacheslav Polyansky has a no less talented son he named Timur. It's just amazing that the father is such a professional and his son is the same. Slavik is also a composer and performer. I once said to him, "Slava, what a talented son you have." He replied, "I tried my best." Timur took all the best from his father and probably something from the universe. Timur's path to the musical profession was no different from the path of many children who grew up in a musical family. His first encounter with music happened at home, and it was more like a game or a hobby than serious preparation. It was all quite simple. There was a musical 10-year school at once, so there was no way either to the right or to the left. Timur Polianskiy, pianist, composer, arranger, graduated from the Lviv Special Music School and Lviv Conservatory, laureate of national and international jazz festivals, as well as the international competition Jazz Improvisation, professor of the Kiev Boris Hrynchenko University, author of music for theatrical performances, TV series, and movies, author of academic articles and manuals on the history and theory of jazz, merited art worker of Ukraine, concert jazz pianist. He plays in a duet with his father Vyacheslav Polyansky. The influence of both my father and mother is very strong. Dad has always been an example of creativity for me. Mom brought me up, and I'm much grateful to her for what I have in my character. She taught me a lot, and Dad was the ideal of creativity. He often took both my mother and me to concerts. I listened, watched, I lived and breathed it. And there was major concert activity, whole programs, a finely detailed schedule, so I observed it all in my childhood. Every famous jazz performer has a good academic background, because this is a professional musician's base. And Timur Polianskiy went through all the steps of his creative formation.
Но еще до меня академические программы, он большие работал с академическими программами. Кстати,
he played great academic programs. Bach's Triple Concert was played in Lviv with an orchestra. This is interesting because at first I played with my colleagues and 10 years later he repeated it with his own concert. Timur's first public performance on television was when he was 4 years old. Then there were many concerts at the music school, at the conservatory, and at various festivals and contests. When the family moved from Lviv to Kiev, Timur was invited to head a music department in one of the capital's theaters, which had its own recording studio. This work naturally gave impetus to the young talented musician to start composing his own music. I practiced improvisation, and in fact, improvisation is a composition. I had already invented something and created my own compositions, so it turned out that I started writing music for theaters, and in 2006 I got into the TV series business. Today, Timur Polyanskiy is a composer who is in high demand in the film industry, and not only. He has more than 40 TV and cinema films in his impressive portfolio. A lot of music is written for the theater. He collaborated with such directors as Roman Viktuk, Vitaly Malachov, Roman Sherman, Alyona Demyanenko, Dmitro Tomashpolsky.
Timur
Polyansky has very good taste and always a very precise understanding of the style.
Стиля и умение создать этот стиль. Интеллигентность, присущая ему,
and he has the ability to create the style. The refinement inherent in him obviously was passed on from his parents, and I love Timur for his sensitivity, delicacy, his intelligence and education. And all these positive features are reflected in his music.
Это его деликатность, это его ум, его образованность. Это все, естественно, отражается в его музыке.
Music for the film My Grandmother, Funny Kaplan, was so popular that it urged the young composer Timur to write a separate piece of music for it, a suite.
До концерта мы еще записали музыку.
We recorded music for the film My Grandmother, Funny Kaplan.
Фанни Каплан, который написал Тимур. Очень
It is a very moving subject with lyrical music. This is the Timur in his entirety.
То есть в этом весь сам Тимур. Жанровые краски.
Genre paintings, genre sketches, hooliganism in some places, and love, pity, lighting. It's very lyrical, pinching, and very close to all of us in our hearts. At one of the rehearsals, I just stood listening and even missed giving the introduction. According to Timur's own words, writing music for a television series is not the same as creating music for a movie. TV series are more of a business than an art, which means that the composer's tasks are different. To compose a beautiful intro with background music. And in cinema, everything is different. Cinema is theater. It is very laborious work with the director. Every moment, every look and every sound is checked. Timur Polianskiy has many talents. A musician performer, a composer, an arranger, a teacher, and also an actor. He acts in films and plays in the theater. In the performances I'm Maria Callas and He and She of the Kiev Podil Theater, Timur Polyanskiy is not just a musician who plays the piano, but an acting character in the play. Each performance is different. The music fragments are the same, but a musician cannot play the same, so there are very interesting moments of live performance. Every time you live for the moment. That is why theater is interesting. Many people come several times and say, "Wow, this time it was even better. It's so live."
А в театр, вот тем интересен театр, что каждый раз, причем многие люди приходят по несколько раз и говорят, вот тот раз был там лучше. Я говорю, может быть, нет, а вот тот был еще лучше. Вот, это живое все.
Not so long ago in our country, very few people spoke about jazz, and there was no question of teaching this discipline in secondary and higher musical schools. In independent Ukraine, jazz art is developing at a rapid pace. That's why there was a need to train young people in this genre. Our hero Timur Polianskiy is mastering this skill quite well.
Это не специально. Он был подготовлен вот к такому роду
He
деятельности.
was prepared for this kind of activity. In our family, he listened to different music and studied different cultures. He had a great attitude towards art and literature. He grew up in such an environment.
Разное к искусству в целом, к литературе. Вот в такой обстановке вот человек вырос вот такого творческого направления широкого.
Timur is convinced that jazz is a high art, and it is better when performed in concert halls. Of course, jazz made it to the stage from jazz clubs, but at the present stage, this musical genre is gaining more and more serious concert platforms.
Джаз разный. Джаз в клубе и джаз на сцене, он...
Jazz is different in a club and on stage. Many famous jazz musicians perform at Carnegie Hall. They also perform at the Blue Note Club in New York, but the public at the Carnegie and Blue Note is different.
Публика, которая приходит в Карнеги Холл, и публика, которая приходит в Blue Note, она разная. Те вещи, которые допустимы в программе, в клубе, иногда не совсем могут быть на сцене большого зала.
Those things which are acceptable in the program in a club are sometimes not quite at the stage of the big hall. Nevertheless, academic halls like Carnegie Hall and the Berlin Philharmonic arrange the program in a different way. Today, jazz music is confidently roaming around Ukraine, from small club concert venues to jazz festivals, many of which are among the prestigious international ones. But Ukrainian jazz is only in the beginning of the road. We're just learning how to conquer the world jazz market.
Мы хороши в народной музыке. У нас есть идентичность.
We're good at folk music and in academic music, where our old school is. But in pop music we lose, in jazz we learn, and they learn from us to do folk and academic music, ballet and opera. Our school is number one. We're kings of the castle in this school.
К сожалению, мы проигрываем. В джазе учимся у них, а они все слушают, как мы делаем народную и академическую музыку. Тут мы первичные. Балет, опера. Как бы там ни было, мы все-таки тут короли.
The most important partner for creativity in Timur is his father Vyacheslav Polyansky. But Timur cooperates with many bands, orchestras and individual performers. A long-time friendship connects the musician with the famous vibraphonist Andrei Pushkarov, who during his tour in Europe flew to Kiev just for one evening specially to play together with Timur. A talented person is talented in everything. This is exactly about Timur. I cannot say what's more in him. I think everything is enough. He thinks in a very interesting way, to be sure, outside the box. He has an interesting view of the same classical music. It makes us very close to each other. We're very much in agreement. We learn from each other. We cooperate. It's great. Writing a good jazz arrangement is like creating a new work. Timur Polianskiy writes many arrangements, both instrumental and vocal. There are works of Timur in the repertoire of the superstar of Ukrainian jazz vocal, Natalia Gura.
Он музыкант с большой буквы.
He's a musician with a big letter M. He's everything. He plays and writes, composes and does orchestration. He's basically a one-man band. Friends called Timur Polyanskiy a sunny man. Of course, we can say about him that he's an irrepressible optimist and creator who contributes a lot of strength, knowledge and energy for the prosperity of the Ukrainian jazz school. We're developing, and it's good that there is an opportunity, and now the good young guys are already hot on our heels, but we're not giving up. I do not know anybody more reliable, professional and creative in the field of cinema music and music in general.
В области киномузыки, не только киномузыки, музыки вообще.
Таких музыкантов немного сейчас. Не потому, что мы говорим сейчас именно.
There are few such musicians now, not because we're talking about my son, but in general. Basically, everyone works in a single genre and achieves success there. But today is the 21st century, and we must look at the world in a broader perspective.
Мы хотим шире смотреть на мир.
I want to wish every talented musician not to rest in creativity and not to stop in any case whatsoever. More ideas and more interesting projects help music and cinema flourish.